I'm Duke Ellington. And I was a famous musician and composer. I was born in 1899 and lived until 1974. I was a famous musician and composed and wrote over 3,000 songs and acted in many films. For my music, I won 11 Grammys, 1 Oscar, toured USA and the world many times. In 1971, I went to Minsk, Belarus, and played for Ben's grandma, my grandma. And in 2001, my face was placed on a quarter, first Black American to get put on U.S. currency. In 1969, what was that word? I forgot one word.
Is it on your card?
No. I remember it now. I received Presidential Medal of Freedom at the White House. Did you know President Nixon played Happy Birthday for me? I had one son named Mercer Ellington who played trumpet and saxophone with me. When I died, he took over as leader of the band. Did you know my weird name? My real name was Edward Kennedy Ellington. My friends would call me Duke because I dressed like royalty. When I was a young man, I worked as a soda fountain jerk. I thought somebody would laugh.
What's a jerk? What's a jerk? Oh.
I'm going to tell you. At a club. And when piano players were sick, I'd fill in for them for piano. And that's how I started my first song, Soda Fountain Rag. The types of music I played was ragtime, jazz, gut bucket, and swing. I love music and composing so much that even until my last day alive, I even played in the hospital bed on a keyboard by my side. That's it. Should I pass around the trophies?
You all know who I am, Harry Houdini. But who was Harry Houdini? So I was a very, very, very famous magician. The most famous magician. I loved magic tricks. In my early life, so when I was 1, me and my father moved to America, and I was born in a country called Hungary. And I was trying to make money so that my rest of my family can come. And then when I was 17, my father died. And then I was really, really mad, but he had enough money to have his family come. He became a magician with his brother. His name was Theo, short for Theodore. They helped him with like a disappearing coin trick, which like you flick the coin and it's gone. But I have no idea how it works. So after all of that, there's fun facts about Harry Houdini. He was not only a magician, he was an illusionist, a pilot, an actor. That is a lot of stuff. But fun fact about a pilot, he was the first person to fly a plane in Australia. And now, to end my show, there's some magic tricks. The first magic trick, there's a paper right here. Now, let me just, wait, does everyone see the paper?
Yes. Yes.
Let me just close this up. The paper is gone.
What?
Okay, the last trick, I don't know if I'll do this. It's hard. You can easily mess this one up. Okay, so there are 4 aces in here, 4 kings, 4 queens, and 4 jacks in there. So, Miss Rahab,
Oh, yeah.
tell me when to stop shuffling these cards.
Stop.
Okay. Ace, 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 ace. Jack, 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 jack. Queen, 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 queen. King, 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 king.
Oh, I know that.
I know. Yeah, I know
Whoa,
how to do that.
cool. Wow, yeah.
I could do
Aiden,
lots
is
of
that
tricks.
Aiden, is that
I
it?
win my first one.
Okay, I'm going to stop and then.
Woo! That was a really rough plane ride. Oh, all my friends are here. Let me tell you guys about my person. Hello, this is my person, Amelia Earhart. She was born on July 24th, 1897 in Ashton, Kansas. In 1904, Amelia Earhart went to the World Fair. When she was there, she saw her first roller coaster. When she got home, she invited her friends over to her house, and they decided to build a roller coaster in Amelia Earhart's backyard. Here is what it looked like. In 1909, Amelia Earhart went to the State Fair in Iowa. When she was there was an air show. That when she saw the planes, she knew that she was going to be a pilot. This is what the state fair looks like. And this is backstage where the airplanes were getting ready. Right here is Amelia Earhart and her husband, George Putnam. George Putnam was a very nice guy. George Putnam was trying to make Amelia Earhart make her confident in herself and believe in herself. Although George Putnam was trying to take Amelia Earhart's fame away. Right here is the friendship plane that Amelia Earhart flew from Iowa to Hawaii. This airplane is placed in Washington, D.C. in a museum. Right here is Amelia Earhart standing in front of the friendship. And there are some words that says, never interrupt someone doing what you said couldn't be done. Right here is Amelia Earhart. Right here is the last picture taken of Amelia Earhart before she flew across the world. She got lost in the Pacific Ocean. From this day, no one knows where Amelia Earhart is.
George Washington was the first president of America. He had a lot of work and traveled to many places. But for that, he was a leader in the army. He rode a horse in the army and he fought against England. He and his soldiers won the war. He was a hero and became the first president of America. Here's like $1 to show you a picture of him. How is he famous?
George S. Patton III was born November 11th, 1885. Most of his family fought in wars. He had dyslexia, so school was hard for him. He just wanted to become a soldier, but his father wanted him to go to West Point. His father wanted to make him an officer. He sees his first action in World War I on September 12th in 1918. He was hit with a bullet in his leg. He was an intelligence officer in Honolulu. He warned his superiors about a Japanese attack
on Pearl Harbor, and 6 years later it happened. When America joined World War II, General Patton was sent to North Africa. He fought there for a few months, then he went to Sicily to fight. After D-Day, Patton was sent with Tank Corps to get back France. That was his last battle. He died shortly after World War II. He has a statue in the Memorial Museum in California.
When I picked Ralph Lauren for my report, it felt like we had a lot in common. Ralph had blonde hair, now it's gray, and blue eyes, just like me. He grew up in a Jewish home and went to a Jewish school, just like me. We both share a love for clothes, and the way we dressed made him stand out, just like me. Ralph Lauren is a famous fashion designer, and I bet you're probably wondering how he became a big deal in fashion. Let me tell you about Ralph Lauren. When Ralph was just a teenager, he knew what he liked to wear. It's a style that today we call preppy. Back then, it was known as traditional. What's cool is that Ralph didn't dress like his friends. His style was different, neat, polished, and not what everyone else was wearing. As he got older, he thought, hey, maybe other guys might want to dress like me too. So in his late 20s, he began by designing ties. These ties weren't the average ones. They were wider and way cooler than the boring ones men wore in the 1960s. Starting with ties, fast forward 50 years, and Ralph Lauren's company now designs everything, clothes for men, women, kids, and home goods and accessories. Oh, and here's a picture of me and Ralph Lauren.
You've met him before?
No. Because we're similar.
You met him?
So how did
No,
you
they
take a
just-
picture?
He just took a picture. And then
Wait, really? Let Ruben explain.
Oh, well, like just my father kind of made it. He had a picture of him and me and stuff, and him in a suit. So, like, put them together. Ralph Lauren has different styles that cover a bunch of looks. Preppy, traditional, classic. Polo shirts, khakis, blazers, college-inspired looks. Rugged Western. Cowboy style with denim and leather. Sporty casual. Stylish, comfy clothes perfect for every day. Luxury elegant. Fancy clothes for special occasions. Nautical seaside. Beach vibes with stripes and navy blues. Ralph Lauren didn't create the polo shirts, but he made them super popular by making awesome ones. He put a little guy playing polo on the chest, and people loved it. The shirts became a huge hit, and that little polo player logo became a well-known symbol everywhere. Through hard work and lots of imagination and a strong belief in himself, Ralph Lauren has created a multi-billion-dollar fashion empire.
let me tell you about Anne Frank, a brave girl who was just 15 years old when she died. When Anne was a child, a new leader, Adolf Hitler, took power in Germany. Hitler blamed the Jews for the country's problems. Due to anti-Semitism, Anne's parents, Otto and Edith Frank, decided to move to Amsterdam for safety. When Anne was about 10 years old, Germans attacked Poland, and World War II began. Soon after Nazis attacked Netherlands, slowly the Nazis made more laws and rules, making life harder for Jews. Imagine not being allowed in libraries, museums, even a zoo, just because you were a Jew. That was Anne's life was like now. On Anne's 13th birthday, she received a special gift, a small notebook. Less than a month later, Nazis had to start rounding up groups of Jews for labor camps. Otto and Edith were not letting their family be taken away. Anne's father had already found a hideout. It was attached to the building where his office was. Anne and her sister Margot didn't have a lot of time to pack. They couldn't bring a lot of stuff. But Anne made sure to keep one thing with her diary. Living in a hiding place was cramped. There were 2 rooms, one for her parents and one for Anne and Margot. In the daytime, they had to work quietly and barefoot. Nobody could use the toilet or turn on faucets from 9 in the morning to 7 at night because people in the often buildings might hear them. So over here, this is like where they're staying. This is like where he worked. There's a bookshelf. Through here is where they were staying. It was and here's a closer look. This is what they're staying. This is Anne's room. She put pictures of her friends, her family, and movie stars in her room. Anne wrote all her feelings in her diary. She wrote stories about her life and hiding stories from her childhood and even made up fairy tales. Days turned into weeks, weeks turned into months. Got really boring, but boring was better than being found. After 2 years of hiding, they were caught by the Nazi police. All 8 people from the hiding place were sent to camp in Poland called Auschwitz. Men and women were separated. Sadly, most people at the camp were killed. Anne and her sister got sick and passed away in March of 1945. A month after Anne died, the people at the camp were freed. Of the 8 people living together, only Otto Frank survived. When he came back to Amsterdam, he wanted to see his family, but the only thing that was left was Anne's diary. In the summer of 1947, Anne's dream came true. Her diary turned into a book. Anne became a published author, and her diary became world famous.
It starts off when Queen Elizabeth was born in Windsor Castle. Everyone thinks being a king or queen is like the best thing in the world, but I don't think it is. Because if you were one, then you have a lot of duties and you never have time to spend time with your family or friends. But anyways, let's talk about Queen Elizabeth. Queen Elizabeth was a very kind person. She had a nice life in different kinds of castles. And I'll tell you of something pretty gross. One time, so when she went on trips, you know, everyone thinks trips are really fun. But when her trips weren't as fun. When she went on trips, she had to eat all the local foods, even if she didn't like it. On the island of Fiji, she was offered a special drink. It was made with kava and spit. Yuck. And since she had to eat the local food, she had to at least take a sip. And wait, what was I gonna say next? Queen Elizabeth had 4 kids. The oldest was Charles. Then there was Anne, William, and Harry. I think, yeah. So. And Charles is now the current king. He lives in Buckingham Palace now. And I'll tell you, I went there. It's really big. You can't even see the whole park from one space. There's a big fountain place with no water, so you can just climb it and sit on it. Also in London, there's a lot of things. I wonder about how it would be. And also, she has 2 things. Like did you know that when she was a queen, she never could actually go outside whenever she wanted. She was cooped up. She had to learn a lot. And she had this Girls Guide troop that her nanny started. But she even though all her playmates and friends
had to curtsy to her and call her ma'am because she would be queen one day. She died when she was 92 last year.
Albert Einstein is so smart. Albert Einstein is so smart. Fun fact about Albert Einstein: he had dyslexia and he was Jewish. He was one of the most famous scientists. In 1879, he did when he was 76, he died. We're gonna play one truth and a lie. First, he was from without relativity. When Albert Einstein was hated imagination. When Albert Einstein's little sister was born, he thought she would have toy wheels like the toys. Who thinks number 1 is a lie? Who thinks number 2 is a lie? Who thinks number 3 is a lie? Raise your hand if you think number 2 again. If your hand's raised, then you're correct. Relativity is when something is moving fast, but you can't see it. Like if you see a plane going by, do you think it's going fast or slow? You think it's going slow. That's the relativity. But if you were right next to the plane, then you would think it's going really fast. Number 2, he loved imagination. He thinks imagination is more important than knowledge. Yes, when his little sister was born, he thought she would have wheels like the toys. But still, they were best friends when she grew up. Lady Amelia Jacobowitz was known as Lady Jack. Her husband was the chief rabbi of England, and the Queen gave him a special title called Lord. That meant his wife was called Lady. She was famous for her kindness to everyone. Lady J loved being a giver. Lady J never forgot to thank even people who may seem unimportant. She sent letters to garbage collectors and street cleaners. She thanked security guards when leaving places. One thing her father would say, there is never a day without a teeny ray of sunshine. If you can find that ray, everything will be easier. This means we can find something good in every day, even if it's hard to see.
Magic is all love for a review. It's about the Klosenberger rabbi. He was a big tzaddik and finished the whole shas when he was only 13. He became the rabbi at 21, got married, and had 7 children. So, he went through the Holocaust and lost his whole family. In the concentration camps, he loved and helped every day. During that time, he tried with all his heart to keep every mitzvah that he could. He had so much in him. After the war, he went to Hadidikip. Hadidikip is the place where people went after the war when they had nowhere else to go. The Rebbe takes such good care of the orphan and of the deacon that we call him Tom. He did so much for the Jewish people. One example is that he made the only hospital in the world. It's called the Lamiola Hospital. The Rebbe got married again and had more children, and he built big communities in Netanya and New Jersey where thousands of cousin Biography and following teaching people today.
Helen Keller by Leora. Helen Keller had a hard life because she was deaf and blind. I am going to give each of you a sheet of paper and I will tell you to draw something with your eyes closed. And you will draw. But that's besides the point. Now let me get on to my real speech. So Helen also had a lot of struggles, like she would act things out to her parents and they usually would know what she wanted, but sometimes Helen's parents had no clue what she wanted, so she would cry and kick and get very angry. A woman named Annie Sullivan taught Helen words by signing them into her hand, and she taught her also to read Braille. Braille is a way of reading. It is bumps on a paper, and blind people can read it by sliding their finger. And it looks like that. I can see it.
Was she a kid?
Times her parents had no Soon enough, Helen even knew how to write, thanks to Annie Sullivan for teaching her. But now I'm going to hand out
Leora, I'm gonna turn this off. Do you wanna explain first what you're gonna do?
Yeah.
I'll turn it off. Can you explain before you pass it out?
So I'm gonna give each of you a paper, a pen, and a clipboard, and then I'll tell you to draw something or something with your eyes closed, and then you'll open it and you'll see what you do.
Have you ever wondered who made up the telephones? Well, Alexander Graham Bell made up the telephones. He lived from 1847 to 1922. He hired a man to help him. His name was Thomas Watson. On March 10th, 1876, something incredible happened. Alexander was in one room, Thomas was in the other room, but they could hear each other's voice through the machine. The invention was working. In Boston, Thomas met a woman. She was deaf, and they got married, then they got children. And I don't know what to say.
Hello everyone, my name is Henny Muckler. I lived in Israel for 36 years with my husband and a large family. We have 14 children. On the first week after we got married, Mordechai and I began to host different people from around the world every Friday night and Shabbos day. I cooked everything in my small Jerusalem kitchen with lots of volunteers to help. We even had a vegetarian option for those who needed it. We always tried to accommodate everyone, even when they had some unusual requests. Our usual number was 100 to 150 per meal. We welcomed everyone, people who were Jewish or not Jewish, different ages, students, some people who had a lot of problems, and even people who did not have homes. We welcomed them all. There was great food, great Torah, and a lot of great fun. We had only 2 rules for everyone. No talking about politics and no saying anything that would insult Jews. I loved learning and davening with them, even when I was sick.
I love going to the kotel to talk to Hashem and the graves of free people. I love doing hisbotos, talking to Hashem, and I did this many times a day. I worked hard to see the shining light in every Jewish soul and welcome them into our home. Unfortunately, Henia died in 2015 from a long and difficult illness. She did not complain even when she was in pain and had to travel to America for treatment. I learned so much from Henny and really look up to her. Henny never lost her temper and truly loved and accepted everyone. I'm sharing one of her famous recipes and a treat to remind you to be sweet and kind. Thank you.
Steve Jobs was adopted. His parents were Paul and Clara Jobs. His adopted sister's name is Patty Jobs. Timeline. 1955, Steve Jobs is born on February 24, 2007. Apple introduces the iPhone. 2011, Steve Jobs passes away on October 5. Steve Jobs became famous because he was put in the Fortune magazine and created things like the MacBook, the iPod, and the iPhone. He was a millionaire. He was not always nice to his employees, and sometimes he even made them cry. He got sick with cancer later in his life. I want to be Steve Jobs because I like creating new things. I also want to be famous like he is. He liked to make things perfect, and I do too. He called his company Apple because it was his favorite fruit, and he thought they were perfect. At one point in his life, Steve left the Apple company and returned a few years later. Okay. And then this is pictures of him. So this is the first one. This and this. That's the. Do you have questions?
Well, let's do questions after.
Okay.
Just tell us what we're looking at.
Okay, this is the Fortune magazine that he was in the magazine. Yeah, that's the early Apple. This was the old computer, the first one, and this is Steve Jobs.
Hello, my name is Rav Yaakov Yosef Herman. I have 11 fun facts to tell you, and then I will show you the video on the board. The first fun fact is Rav Yaakov Yosef Herman was known for his Hachnasat Orchem. He was born in the 1880s. He got married in 1903. He died in 1967. He started his own business. He had more than 20 CMs. He left his family at the age of 13. His parents did not let him marry Adel Nero. He was sent out of his house. He had a hard time finding a job, and that person who's going to be speaking in the video was Rabbi Pinchas Steinberg's daughter, and actually Rabbi Pinchas Steinberg was related to Rabbi Yaakov Yosef Herman.
Rabbi, tell us about Simchas HaChaim. How can a person give over to children to enjoy life with Simchas HaChaim?
If they had to be a role model to the children. There has to be a mother gets up in the morning. Oh, what a beautiful day. Get them up. Come. Look. The sun is shining. There's not a cloud in the sky. Or she takes a walk with them and she sees flowers and she says, quick, come. We'll make a bracha. Yeah. Smell. Look. How beautiful the world is. If you can help children to see the beauty and the goodness and all the things that Rabbi Shalom made us such a beautiful world. How can you not be so? It says 15 minutes. They proved, I have an article that they proved in research that 15 minutes in a green area changes the mood of a person. And if there's water, even more so. Very calming.
Because I am Rabbi Kanievsky, and Rabbi Kanievsky died holding on to Hillel. I thought we could say something to Hillel for her neshama and for the war in Israel. 1, 2, 3, go. Shir ha'alos, Esa'inai el ha'arim, me'ayin yavo Ezri. Ezri me'im Adonai, oseh shamayim va'aretz. Al yitei lavot v'rachacha, al yanu shomecha, v'lo yanu v'lo yisham shomer Yisrael. Adonai shomecha, Adonai tzilecha, Adonai yaginecha. Yomam hashemesh lo yavdaka v'le'areya b'layla. Adonai yishmorcha mikol ra, yishmor et nefshecha. Adonai yishmor otcha v'orecha, me'ata v'yad l'olam. Thank you. Because my person is Rosen Kanievsky, and she died holding on to Hillel and saying to Hillel, I thought we could say something to Hillel for her neshama and for the war in itself. 1, 2, 3, go. Shir ha'alos, Esa'inai el-ha'arim, me'ayin yavo Ezri. Ezri me'im Adonai, oseh shamayim va'aretz. Al yitei lavot v'rachacha, al yanu shomecha, v'lo yanu v'lo yisham shomer Yisrael. Adonai shomecha, Adonai tzilecha, Adonai yaginecha. Hashemesh lo yavdeka v'yareya b'layla. Adonai yishmorcha mikol ra, yishmor et nefshecha. Adonai yishmor tzidkorecha, me'ata v'yad olam.
And then I can sit down. So this is somebody
Okay, sign off then. You can either do your initials or Amidon, do you want to write about me? Amidon, whatever I told you about me, do you want Here is Queen Elizabeth, and here's Queen Elizabeth.